The most important data structure in R is the vector. But before we talk about vectors, let's first talk about how to store a number into a variable. When you do that, think that you're creating a box. And you're going to name that box, and you can pretty much name the box anything you want. There are some restrictions. Let's name this box X, and then you're going to store, or you're going to put a number into this box. Let's say we store the number 3. So this is how I think of it when I'm storing a number into a variable. I'm creating a box, giving it a name, in this case X, and then I'm storing a number into that box. So let's see how to do that in RStudio. So I've got RStudio opened here. I have the scripts panel minimized because I don't need that. Now remember, Control L will clear the console for you. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to create a variable, create a box. I'll name it X. And then what you want to do is you want to put the less than sign followed by the hyphen. And you can see how that makes a backwards arrow. And if we type a number after that, that means that 3 is being stored into X. And we hit enter. And it looks like nothing has been done there. But now, every time I type X and hit enter, it opens up the box and it shows you what's in there, the number 3. Now let's do that let's do it one more time. How about if we create a variable and call it Y, and we'll store number 6. Now anytime we type Y, it opens up the box and we see the number 6. Notice that if you clear the screen, that doesn't affect what's in memory. So anytime I type X, I will see what's stored in there, 3. Anytime I type Y, once again, I see what's stored in there, 6. Okay. So suppose that you would like to store more than one number into a particular variable. That's called creating a vector, which really is the most basic data structure that we work with in R. Alright, let's see here. Let's click through this here, sorry. There we go. So in this case, what I'm doing is instead of creating a single box, I'm putting 3 boxes together. And I'm thinking of that as a single entity. So the 3 boxes here have a single name, X. The individual boxes are named X1, X2, X3, which makes sense. And then I can individually store numbers into each of the boxes. This would be called a vector. And when you do this, you're creating a vector. Let's do this in R. See what that looks like. Okay, so let's call the vector X, and I have to do the backwards arrow to show that I'm storing into X. And let's make a vector of size 3 here, of length 3. This is how you do it. You have to use the combine function. So you can start out by typing a C for combine and parentheses after the C. And then, separated by commas, put the numbers that you want to store into that vector. So 3, 7, 5. Now if I type X, I can see the values that that vector has stored in each of its boxes. Another word for these boxes would be coordinates. Notice also that I've overwritten what's in X. I had 3 stored in X, but now X is instead defined as a vector of length 3. And that has stored in it the numbers 3, 7, and 5. Let's just try that one more time. So let's create a vector Y. Again, I have to use this combine function. And I can put in there whatever I like. So let's say 4, 6, 2, 2, and 1. So in this case, I'm creating a vector of length 5. It consists of 5 boxes. Anytime I type y, I can see what's in the box, a vector of length 5. Okay, let me clear the screen here. A couple operations that you can do with vectors. For instance, let's look at x again. There's our vector x, 375. If I want to access particular coordinates, I can do that. So for instance, if I type x1, that gives me what's in the first box, 3. If I type x3, this gives me what's in the third box, which is 5. Let's take a look at y. I can also do what are called slices. So if I type, for instance, y, square bracket, and I do, let's say, 1 colon 4, let's see what I get. I get 4, 6, 2, 2. In other words, I get the first coordinate, second coordinate, third coordinate, and fourth coordinate. All the coordinates between that are indexed between 1 and 4. If I do y, square bracket, 2 to 5, 6, 2, 2, 1. That gives me the second coordinate all the way up to the fifth coordinate. All right. You can also get complementary. Well, let's see. What should I say? Complementary slices. So suppose I type y -1. Notice that gives me the same as what I just had. What it's doing is it's giving me the vector y, but without the first coordinate. Let me clear the screen to make that a little bit easier to understand. So here's y. If I type y, let's say -2. Notice that I'm getting everything here except for the second coordinate because I put a -2 in there. You can also do slices this way. So I could do, for instance, y -2 colon -4. Let's see what that gives me. 4 and 1. So notice here's the original vector y, 4 and 1. It's cutting out the slice from 2 to 4, and that's because I used negatives there. So what I would suggest is to just play around a little bit, create your own vectors, and practice a little bit with slicing. And I'll see you in the next video.